Welcome to the Religiously Offensive Podcast.
Did you ever watch South Park?
Not like every episode.
Like, who was
I've definitely seen it.
Justin, did you watch it?
Is it Pete?
No, was it Mr. Garrison? Or who was the guy? No, it wasn't him. Who was the guy that was like, okay.
What show is it even from?
South Park.
Because wasn't he like a little pervy guy?
No, that's Herbert the Pervert.
The MK guy wasn't pervy at all?
I don't know.
Oh, maybe he wasn't. Was he the teacher?
That's what I thought.
He was like,
Mr.
okay,
Mackey.
So 2 + 2 = 4.
It
Okay.
was, it was Mr. Mackey.
It was just everything.
That's funny.
It
It was hilarious.
just
I
because
love
of like the kind of the cultural, I don't know, vibe of South Park. I never really watched South Park because like I for sure think
not
it's
allowed to?
objectively funny, but it was on like the no list, so I just felt like a bad
Can't
person
watch
for
it.
watching it.
My dad was a big Simpsons guy. But I didn't watch South Park a whole lot.
What's so
Yeah.
funny, we weren't allowed watching The Simpsons, but then like they have worse stuff now. It's like
For sure.
I
Yeah.
also-
Simpsons is like super tame.
I want to go back and watch
Maybe spitting facts.
because
I know.
doesn't The Simpsons like predict everything that happens ever?
Yeah, it's weird.
It's weird.
Actually, I haven't like
Need to get
looked
back
into
on
it
that.
a
There's
whole
a
lot.
cabal.
I've just seen a couple videos and believed it instantly.
I just seen a few videos and believed it instantly.
It had to have been the truth.
Hence,
Nobody
hence
would
the
lie.
problem with our culture.
Nobody lies on TikTok.
So, just to show everybody here, we got some new thermoses. They got some waterproof stickers on them.
And mugs. Can't see them as well.
I mean, it's printed graphic on the thing.
These are cool.
Yeah, and the mugs that like reveal when you put hot water in them or hot anything. It's pretty dope. Not gonna lie,
Pretty dope.
NGL.
I see you.
So I know I'm starting to feel
It's fancy.
silly about it. Yeah. So hey, if you like this, like and subscribe, share with your friends.
If you want some
Please.
merch, just let us know, guys.
Yeah, we'll send it to you for free. We don't have that many listeners yet, so once
Can't just offer it for free.
that's right. Pay shipping and handling, and maybe like a couple dollars.
Yeah, we could just do like
Make a
whole-
donation. If you make a donation on Spotify or Anchor, we'll send you some free
Yeah.
merch. There's like a
Help us
donation
help you.
option on there.
Help us help you.
Yeah, like the first 15 to like, subscribe, comment, tag a couple
15.
friends.
There you go.
Boom,
Boom.
There you go. Do it.
we'll ship it for free.
We ship
I don't want to commit to that, but
fast and free,
just thought.
like eBay. So yeah, it's been a
been a
while
minute,
since
yeah.
we've talked. Yeah. So how's everyone doing?
Solid.
Thriving.
What's offending your headspace on social media right now? Or violating your headspace? You know, the stuff you read on social media that's like, why is this happening right now in our world?
I mean, it's pretty. I mean, regardless of your opinion on it, it's pretty crazy that they raided the house of a president. That's kind of interesting.
Oh, you want to talk about that?
Not necessarily. It's just I must look at a lot of political things.
If you were to say,
So that's kind of what they feed me.
yes,
But
if you were to say they
kinda
raided
crazy.
the house, they raided the house.
They rolled in
let's,
there.
Let's change a different. Let's make it a different president.
sure,
If they raided the house of Barack Obama,
for doing the same thing that every president before him did,
yeah,
or maybe that's the one side of the conspiracy.
yeah, who knows? That is
What'd he
another
do?
side of the conspiracy.
Oh, you're just saying
They haven't released.
They said that I believe, and I'm not educated on this, but I believe the story was that the FBI said that Trump,
Espionage Act.
well, Trump had basically taken files or documents from the White House that he shouldn't have.
Right. So it's a strange.
didn't Hillary do something like that?
Well, yes, she did, and it was
30,000
proven.
emails.
Yeah, so she had her own server set up, I feel like that's a little more sketch.
But she wasn't the president, so it's not as big of a deal.
Well, she wasn't the. Yeah.
She was Secretary of State. So another wrinkle, though, is the president also has unilateral authority to declassify whatever he wants. So, like, legally, you could just be like, no longer classified. And so it's like there's a weird argument going
He
back
can
and
do
forth.
that
of, like,
without any checks and balances there?
there's probably got to be some sort of checks. Like, obviously, you can't just be like declassifying nuclear codes, but
Well, it doesn't matter if you don't have the football.
also true. And I bet they change those codes every day. So even you had yesterday's codes.
Oh, probably
They probably change like every 5
hour
minutes.
Yeah. Every 30 seconds. Do better than that.
Why not? Is it just a frequency then? Because that could be hacked.
Well, I imagine if like to log into some of these stupid websites we have to log into and they give you this like ever changing QR code and shit to like get in there, I imagine it's much more secure than that. Or if it's not, it'd be hilarious that it's literally like just some stupid 5-letter code or something like that. And then like we're sitting here trying to log into our, picture host on online and we can't get in. Dude, his TikTok is so frustrating. So my son, I'm trying to I've got him an iPad so he can start like making videos on TikTok just to, kind of get used to that world.
'Cause there's a pretty like basic level element of editing, right?
Yeah.
Where you get used to
No,
starting
well, I
cutting
also got
things
him
up
an
and-
editing tool on his iPad. So he has all the tools he needs to do it. And he
a
was
great
doing
skill
it.
to have.
Problem is, he got locked out of his account because he couldn't log in as something else. So he had originally, when he signed up for TikTok, he already had an account, I guess. He used an email that was tied to his school last year. And so I don't know if he's locked out of that account or TikTok. Well, TikTok basically saying this account's locked. Like I can't recover anything. I can't change anything.
Dang.
And the only way to contact them is through their message portal, which is stupid. I don't know. The whole thing is dumb
Did you watch that clip where
because they're
Rogan-
trying to like get rid of like bots, and
Yeah,
just the stuff that they suspect as bot activity is absolutely stupid. But anyway,
bots got to be getting smart enough. Did you see that?
the Twitter thing?
No,
yeah.
the clip where Rogan was reading the terms and service from TikTok.
Oh yeah, you give them everything.
They can like access your photos. They can access like other devices.
Yeah,
Well,
they can have
that,
all my
like,
shit.
also
They can
have similar
access
login
photos
info?
if you let them access photos, or you can select the photos you want them to be able to access. But most people will probably just be like allow access to all photos. You know what I mean? You know how the pop up
it's like
on
the
your
prompts.
phone it says select photos or access all photos on any app that you do.
Take them all.
Because he was
Yeah,
saying
everyone's
even-
ignorant. Like they don't. I mean, they just get. I do. I mean, I just give them access to all. Like I don't care. Like, dude. I mean,
yeah.
here's the thing.
It's like I'm nobody important.
Well, it's just a weird world where it's like data is currency now. So it's like, but I mean, it's brilliant because I think it's owned by some Chinese company where they basically found a way to make the dopest social media platform while also being able to harvest all the data they could ever want.
Yeah, and their version of the platform only shows like educational shit.
Yeah.
It's insane to me.
Yeah.
It's clearly
No,
like
they're out here playing-
okay, if
they're playing
China's
chess, dog.
yeah, if China's doing this, like I mean, seriously, people know this, and they still just are like all about TikTok. I mean, granted, kids don't care. That's the problem. They
Right.
went after the people
Right.
that are only looking for social acceptance.
They're playing the long con. Like, you
gosh.
ever listen to that one former KGB guy? That I don't remember.
I saw it. Yeah,
Where he,
was
basically
on
talks
Rogan.
about
He was on Rogan.
yeah, how like you just change a nation. It's like, well, it takes like generations.
Yeah, no, and he said exactly what's happening. He said it like, and it's not a conspiracy, not anything. He literally was saying this is what
we do.
happens.
Yeah,
And it's literally happening.
yeah.
Like it's not like you kind of read into it, look at it from a certain angle. I could see that. It's like no, it's literally like it's what he's saying is happening.
Yeah, it's about to
It's
get nutty.
freaky as crap. Yeah. So what? And this goes into the conservative. I want to say, I want to be careful. Obviously, I have a lot of conservative friends and family and stuff, but it's just like this goes into that conservative, like fear first mindset. I was sent an article from some family that was basically like, hey, someone sent this to me. They said it was like people could track you, right? And it was like, okay. So they were saying not to pick up like dollar bills
Like
or
the
like
tracing
money.
software or whatever.
Well, no, they were saying not to pick up money because it have this white powder on it, and then it tracks you. Like literally, that's the telephone message it was being. And then they sent me the article. I read the article. And I was like, "Hey, did you read this article?" They didn't. They literally just
Talking like anthrax.
what was
Like, no, but I saw the title.
what was telephoned what was telephoned to
Those
them,
are always accurate.
and then like send me the article, right? And I'm just like, so first of all, you said to me false information, and then you proved yourself wrong by putting the article there. You didn't
you have
read
to
it.
love that, though.
We
got stuff
hella
like that,
ignorant
right?
out here.
Haven't
in
you
these
got
streets
stuff like that?
Oh,
nowadays.
for sure, yeah.
But it's just like so the article was about be careful when picking up money because it have powder in it because people are like trying to get
What kind of
people
powder?
well people are trying to get people addicted to
What does this
drugs.
powder do to you?
So they put fentanyl in this and stuff.
Tell me more.
Can I
So
make a profit?
so they put like fentanyl inside this folded bill.
I'll probably pass on that.
Yeah, no, thank you.
No, what I'm saying is dangerous. It's physically dangerous,
Right.
especially
Yeah.
if kids, pick it up or whatever. So it
Fentanyl's
is dangerous.
terrifying.
But
So that's the real thing?
yeah, that is the real thing. But the narrative that they told me was that like they can track you, and I was like reading the article. The only thing they mentioned about tracking is like police have been tracking criminal activity. That literally is all they say. But then like somehow someone started spreading this like idea that like, oh, look at this article, they can track you if this powder gets on you. I'm like, that's physically impossible. Like
Right.
that, like
The
you're
fentanyl thing
dealing
is
with like
crazy.
nanobots. I mean, we're not dealing with that kind of shit yet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just wild. Like you hear stories and they're just like border control seized enough fentanyl to kill every American 50 times over. You're just
Yeah,
like,
right.
what?
Yeah.
It's just out there?
Yeah. no.
Like-
Dude,
feel like-
these clickbait headlines makes you want to punch people in the face.
But but that's the funny. I mean, it's the world we've created, but it's like,
Sure is.
yeah, we do love our clickbait, but it is also doesn't necessarily serve us.
The problem is people will take the clickbait and be like, depending on their political bias, will either take it one way or another. So it's either clickbait like, oh, this is an attack on me, or it's clickbait like, oh yeah, screw those people. You know what I mean? Like, look what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it was the most clickbaity title. Mm-hmm. Like, that's why I subscribe to this 1440 news. I think you said you do something similar, where it's just like without bias. It's just, hey, here's the news. Like, these are headlines. Yeah, I don't know. I encourage anyone listening to do that because it's definitely a healthier way to live your life.
Man, I honestly, if I could go back and change anything, I just never would have gotten into it at all to begin with. Like, it's not.
Social media?
Well, I guess more like politics. Because I kind of, I don't know, maybe in another life I would have been like a sociologist. Because I'm fascinated by like human behavior and patterns and how like so many people can just like similar to what we were just talking about with clickbait, with just things like this. It's like people won't even use their brains. They'll literally just like get a glimpse of something and then just share it as if, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
like we're living in the real world ramifications of like, that's just becoming part of culture. But
It's unreal.
I got fascinated with the 2016 Olympics because it was all of a sudden this thing where it's just like, dude, we've been electing crazy people as president. And all of a sudden it was like just really ruining people's lives when it's like, I don't think it's really going to have much of effect.
Yeah.
Much of it. I guess there's certain topics and issues that people are a little more passionate about, which I understand for sure. But
Yeah.
you just get caught up in it, dude. You just like, it's like its own kind of a drug.
Yep. No, so I just had a list of these controversial issues. Again, we could just do a few of them. So it's just like funny. It was just like, here, let me throw this out there, and
Just dropping bombs.
assisted suicide, which is one of them on this list.
That's tricky.
Assisted suicide?
Yeah, and we could talk about
Sick.
that.
Like, can you go to heaven? Is that like kind of the,
I assume it's controversial because Christians are on the other side of that, saying like, oh, you can't. Suicide is just not good. Obviously, it's not. Like, we don't. I like totally against that. Totally like will talk to anyone who I even think that like has an inclination to do anything, and will spend time with them and just like be like, hey, just try to understand what they're going through and all, like that is obviously is a horrible, horrible thing. What we're talking about is someone who's basically in almost coma status on life support, and they're just like saying like, I don't want to exist like this. Can you pull my plug? Like basically like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
There
I
should
think
be an
about-
option to legally do that. To legally have like a doctor do that. I mean, you do it with your do it with your animals, right?
Is there is that a legal option right now?
I don't know.
In some
Certain
states it
places.
probably is.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me look.
I bet you could do it in California. Just a guess.
Yeah, probably could. There's a lot of stuff you can do.
I think
out
the
there.
hard part for me though, it's like if it really. So here's a weird thing, right? It's like which I don't even know enough about this, I guess. But like the whole concept of like right of attorney, right? When it's like a spouse makes that decision to pull the plug or not.
So right now, it's legal in D.C., New Jersey, Vermont, Maine, New Mexico, Colorado, California, Oregon, Washington. It's in review in Montana, but that's it. Everywhere else is illegal.
Did not see Montana coming.
I didn't see Vermont or Maine. Like
It's
what?
like get mauled
do you
by a
have
bear.
do you have to live in those states, or like, so if someone lived in one of the states that don't allow it, could they travel to one of those states and get it done, or do you have to?
Oh, probably. I would assume. Yeah, because I'd be just like any other medical procedure. That's so morbid to think about, but that's interesting because it
sad
seems
to
like
think about.
it is sad.
Because I think about it too, it's like if I were even in that condition, so it's a weird thing even with Christians where it's just like, it's like if you really have that strong of a conviction about the afterlife, I guess maybe part of it is because they're afraid that you're gonna
You think you're gonna ruin
either
it?
the
You're
best place or
ruin
the
it
worst
if
place
you-
ever.
Yeah.
Where I personally like I don't know how to wrap my mind around there being an
I
eternal hell.
have heard.
So it's like
I've
passing
heard
on to the
different
next life.
things. Yeah, right. So you're passing on.
So it's like
early,
there's just not
kinda.
like for me if like I get to a point where I would need to be like on a ventilator or on life support, I'm just like, just let me go, dog. Like I'm just like I have
I'm not
faith
going to
that
be
the
able to
next life's
fully
going to
come
be
back
fine.
to as myself from this, right?
Well, and if it's
There's
just-
people who have. Like there were a couple stories I know.
Possible, yeah.
There was one guy I know specifically who was like literally on his deathbed. I mean, they thought he was going to die, like from COVID. Just
Well,
I mean,
like, came
COVID,
back,
COVID,
like,
COVID
fully-
complications. Yeah, he's
Sure.
full. He's
Like-
fully
like,
back.
totally fine.
He had to go through. He had to go through physical therapy, learn how to walk again.
Like a ventilator and stuff for a while.
Crazy, yeah.
He came back.
Yeah, I
But-
guess it all comes down to that person's decision.
Well, it has a lot
The
to do with
ventilator
their
is tricky.
sheer will too. I mean, that's
Maybe that
that's-
decision has to be made before. I guess if you
They're
don't
in-
know,
they're
if you
not-
don't know it's coming. Yeah.
well, that's weird. Yeah, because if someone you would say is not of right mind, are they capable of making that decision?
Right. Yeah, that's tough.
And who can decide that?
Well, and it's like, is it selfish of family members to want to keep another family member around if they're going to be in a really like unfortunate state? That's like also, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not cheap to be hooked up to.
I'll tell you, man. My
stuff
my
24/7.
my dad, and I don't talk about this with everybody, but now with everybody. When he was going through, I remember it was real traumatizing. The night he actually died, we were on the phone. We weren't in Mansfield, but my mom and sister were at the hospital, and they basically like he had got pneumonia as a complication of one of his surgeries, and basically like he just stopped breathing, and so they revived him like 3 times,
Dang.
and they were just like, if we would try to revive him again, he would be a vegetable
Like
if he
to-
didn't survive.
For what? Yeah.
And so we just had to make the call
That's crazy.
collectively to not do it. So
It was a collective, like,
me, my mom, my sister, and my brother, I think he may have been on the phone too, but yeah, it was like, yeah, it was, so it was,
Yeah, that's crazy.
but
Well-
it wasn't like, hey, you know, he's been in this state for months. He wants to just end it. You know, like that's different a little bit.
yeah.
But to the point of like, at what point do you just not return to your normal self? And if that's the case, you're more of a drain on your family than anything, right?
Well, and like I think about it's like a lot of those people probably in their right sober mind wouldn't want to be that kind of a burden to the family anyways. So it's like,
Right.
How much, but it's a unique problem with, modern medicine and technology. Like it's, for most of our existence, you got to believe that, people just kind of made it till they didn't. And we didn't really have these ways to kind of keep them going beyond what the normal body was capable of.
Well, yeah, sometime, what was it, in the 1800s, what was the life expectancy? It was probably super low, right?
Wasn't like bloodletting a thing? They were just like,
yeah,
let's just cut them and
crazy
let them
stuff.
bleed and hope that they get better.
Yeah, I'm going to do life expectancy by year.
Oh, stuff got a little depressing here this morning.
Hey, I'm sorry about that. It was literally just one of the things on the list of stuff. Why don't you want to look up something about, Justin, the Christian response to
Assisted suicide?
Mm-hmm. Sure. That's what we want to hear, right?
Yeah.
So 1860, 1870, all the way through 1880, life expectancy was 40.
Dang.
Wait, up till how long? 1880?
Uh-huh.
Whoa.
And then it slowly starts to climb through 1880 through, 2020. It's like kind of gets up there. 1985 was 74. So like
Wow.
right around when we were born, people weren't expected to make it to 80.
What's it now?
80-ish. 2015, 78. Yeah, so it's like technically.
That's crazy.
Damn, I didn't know it was that low. Well, shit.
Like 100 years ago?
Huh?
Like 100 years ago, we were only making it to like 40, 50? Or back in 1880, so I guess like 150.
Yeah, 150 years ago. Yeah, we weren't making it past 40. Probably because of some of the sketchy medical practices in place at the time, but
I feel like wars were pretty common back in those days too.
isn't that crazy? So you wonder if I had like 8 kids, right? And we went to war, I lost 3 of them. Is it just so common to lose people in your family that you kind of get sad, but then you just get over it?
Dude, I literally,
know.
I just watched
I
this
know.
lady.
I can't imagine having that attitude about it, but stuff that's
Yeah.
common, you tend to like not, you know what I mean? Like have that kind of emotional response to it.
Dude, I watched the other day, they were interviewing this Afghani woman who was about to lose like her 4th child to malnourishment. And like she's just talking about it and there's a translator, but you're just like, dude, it's just crazy. Like that's so normal in their life and their culture that like they just seemed emotionally unfazed by it. I mean, obviously, it would suck, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
And it's got to be horrible for them, but it's like, maybe that's even the bigger conversation. It's like, because life has become so good and long and healthy for most of us, it's hard to, it's so easy to take like health for granted.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm sure we all have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll cry after this. Don't worry.
Yeah, right.
I'll save it for off the camera.
Save it. No, we need the drama.
Shed those tears now.
So there's also, and I don't know where exactly it is, Justin, where it says you basically, Jesus, forgive, like, so because of Jesus, are you okay? You got wide-eyed there for a second.
Yeah, I was trying to
You were like reading something stupid interesting. So somewhere, right, and I'm trying to find it, where it says our sins have been forgiven, past, present, and future. Right? You've heard that?
Yeah.
I'm just looking for the context about that because it's like people talk
there's a
about
verse that's like Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, forever. And then there's other elements where,
So as long as you
the
believe, like,
atonement.
it was like the thing is like as long as you believe and all this stuff, it's like
that's an interesting concept.
because it's like
This
because
sacrifice
people,
covered everything you've done, you're doing, and then you will do.
because even the most righteous people are sinning until they die, and if they don't have a chance to, you know, repent before they die, they just go to hell, right? Assuming that you believe that there is like a physical place like hell, right? So, you know, I mean, and I had this conversation with another guy before, you know, who's into like theology and all this stuff, and you know, and he brought that up, and I was like, that's interesting because it's like when you talk about suicide in general, it's like, you know,
You going to hell.
yeah, right, that's it.
Right.
And it's just a horrible, like, it's one of the most selfish things you could do, right? Because it affects way more than yourself, right? And people just a lot of times don't think of that. Adolescents don't think of that. And all we can really do is just love people and, you know, try to like basically give them like, hey, you know, this is a good life. Like,
Yeah, I think it can be
live it.
dangerous to just like vilify the act of it, and then, like, I know we all say like,
But I feel like that's the narrative that's taken hold because we don't want kids to think that it's okay.
for sure.
You know, you'll still go to heaven. Like, because if that's the case, their life's feeling crappy and they're going to make a horrible decision. So
I
it's, yeah, so it's like, but
Well, it's-
I do believe that, like, you know, yeah, if you fuck it up, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that. If you screw it up, like, you know, it's like God's got it covered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I totally think that, right?
Yeah.
Because
I think it just boils down to even a bigger view of like in terms of just human behavior. Do we want to manipulate? And I'm not saying manipulate in a bad way, but do we want to influence people via fear or through? Because like I agree with you. It's like half of life is like don't touch it, you'll get burned. So
Right.
it's like there's an element of like okay, sure, you can just there's an awareness, but there's also like so much of religion, if you're not careful, can get into this like you really just are getting people to comply via fear because they're just like we've talked about it before, but you know, I remember so many times seeing that analogy on a Sunday morning of you got a long rope and then a little piece of tape around the one end of the rope. And it's like this piece of tape represents your entire life here. And this rope is eternity. So they kind of just create this massive like next version of life that's like, don't you dare mess this one up. Because if you don't get this one right, the whole rest of it is like you're screwed. Kind of a thing.
yeah.
And it's just to me, that's just like that's a lot of
Yeah.
pressure to put on people that are trying to find their way in an ever
And
changing.
it's one of those things is
world.
no one ever questions that. No one, and we've talked about this, but no one ever sits there and thinks, all right, if God made me in his image spiritually, and like I have a lot of the same tendencies and, you know, ability to think creatively and the ability to like understand life and like how I feel about life and things around me and my worldview, then naturally I would say that doesn't sit right with me. That you get this little tiny chance. And
based off of largely your conditioning and upbringing.
yeah, I mean,
You only had a
how much of
4%
it-
chance to be an American. Like if you're born on the earth today,
Yeah.
96% of people on the earth are not Americans. So it's like so much of our worldview.
Well,
you just see it through a very privileged
yeah,
lens.
it's true. I mean, worldview is, yeah. So if you were born in another country, you could just have a fantastic life. And, you know, I mean, I bring up Scandinavia a lot because there's a lot of, not all the Scandinavian countries, but some of them have like some of the best like quality of life and happiness and whatever.
Because they did that whole show on like the blue zones with the centenarians, the largest density of people that are over 100 years old.
Oh, okay.
And they just went to the
Does
cultures.
does that correlate age and happiness?
I think so.
Does it?
Because one of the areas was this place in like Italy, and it was a really funny concept because you're just like, dude, these people literally drink wine every day and eat pasta.
Yeah.
You're just like, and we're out here telling people that like gluten is the devil and it's coming for you.
Well,
And it's
I'll
like-
tell you what, these they didn't fare very
There
well
wasn't
against
this
COVID.
fear thing. Well, that's true. But I feel also that though, because there's just like, I felt like the Italian population, maybe if there is something
I think
about that way
a
of
lot
life.
of them, a lot of them smoke. That's the problem.
Yeah.
A lot of them smoke, and COVID just did them in.
Well, and most of them are still largely elderly. They have a massive population of old people, which was a very unfortunate reality.
Well, because a lot of younger people move, they get out of there. I mean,
You would think
I
Italy
want to
has
visit.
to have a pretty high.
I wanna
life
visit really
expectancy. Oh, me too.
I don't know if they do or not. Oh, look.
Yeah, I don't know. But I just remember, I think it was that Zac Efron docu-series on Netflix, and you could just tell there was like it was just like a chill pace to life, you know?
Well, I think cultures with a chill pace definitely give you a good foundation to try like live longer
For sure.
because of the no stress. We're always about schedule.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
so anal about doing everything on time. Like it's just like, okay, we need to be on time. This and that. Like, granted, it's like businesses are strict to close and like all that. Like, I think a lot of other countries, it's like you walk in the door, like when a business is about to close, they'll just like, yeah, come on in, or you know
Right.
what I mean. Or if it's like just past, like people are a lot more lenient there about just life.
Yeah.
They're interested in relationships. They're interested in just like getting to know people and.
For sure.
For us, it's like, all right, my job sucks. I'm not spending another second here than I have
Right.
to.
Dude, I
But
can't-
that's been created through the culture.
For sure.
So it's like that, and that
sentiment,
adds the
man.
whole stress of life to like where it's like, all right, like we gotta be at our reservation by 6. Like we have to be there.
Yeah.
And so that like puts into motion all these different things we get stressed about. And so I've heard Spain. Like I want to go to Spain so bad. I want to try to learn some Spanish before I go there. But I've heard like life is just like so chill. Like their dinner is like, anywhere between 7 and 11 p.m. Like it just whenever they feel like it.
And they
You know
do
what I
the
mean?
siesta.
Yeah. It's just like,
That's when my dinner is.
I would love to just visit there and just see how they live
That'd be
life.
dope.
I mean, I'm just like, I don't know. I might want to stay there.
Dude, I heard stories about like
So Hong Kong, highest in the world. Japan,
life expectancy.
yeah, second highest.
Hong Kong and
Macau,
Japan. Oh.
another Chinese.
So the
Region.
Asians are really killing it.
They are. We need to start eating more rice.
We eat a lot.
We
of
do a
rice.
lot of rice.
Yeah, we're gonna live a long time, guys.
Yes.
Um,
And the
You'd eat more
seafood. I bet you
fish,
because they
yeah.
do a lot of the seafood. Well, and they just don't do a lot of processed stuff.
They do a lot of fresh stuff. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
for sure. They're always like every show you see about like the culture in those places. They have like the fresh fish markets and like.
America wants us to die.
You
Hot
want to
take?
you want
All
to
right.
jump into conspiracy waters with Big Pharma? Absolutely, they want us so sick.
So Switzerland next,
Hot take.
which is Switzerland's just north of Italy, right? Singapore, another
Singapore would be fun.
that's another Asian country. Spain, see,
Singapore, is that in Indonesia? Is that part of the island chain?
Italy is next after Spain.
Let's go.
There's no A in
Australia.
Italy.
Oh, Christina gets so mad when I say that. I say Italy and Italian.
It's like literally,
yeah.
are
All
you
the
not
time.
sounding
Italian.
out
She
how
She
it's
gets so
spelled?
mad. Like,
Yeah.
babe, if you didn't get so
Italy?
mad, I'd stop
Italy.
saying it. but
I understand, Christina.
My grandpa
That
was
just kind of pissed me off.
Polish, or no wait, he was one of those Eastern European,
Australia and Iceland.
and he was a big Italian.
I need to.
Kinda guy.
I need to spend
mean
some
Italian?
time living
He said Italian. every time.
Italian, Italy, and Italian. I need to go visit some of these places, dude. I need to know their secrets. Cause it's like I bet a lot of the other like tribes and all these different things that have like the fresh food and stuff like that. They have the capacity to live longer, but they get taken over by disease with no medicine.
Yeah.
Because I do think medicine has a place, like right, like you talk about big pharma. It's a lot like it's turned into a bad thing, but I think there's a lot of good that's come of some of that, research and R&D and stuff. So yeah, that's interesting. So I mean,
Holy smokes.
okay,
Okay, I didn't know it was like this, but
Lay it on us.
honestly, this
Lay it
might
on
not
us.
even be true. This is what the top result from Google gave me. It said, according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, the United States uses 75% of all the world's prescription drugs. Period. Straight up.
you know what's funny is it's like
That's wild.
And it's
And
just
we
like-
don't even do well with the life expectancy thing.
no, and the funny thing is like we want all these other drugs to be illegal.
Because our lives suck. We're not happy.
Yeah, we've created a really unfortunate like hamster wheel situation
Yeah,
where too many people just probably feel like they just can't get off. It's like this like
can't get off. Huh?
I'm obviously the one with the
very
positive
sad.
vibes today. America wants us to die. Lives suck.
Well, I started it with the
Nothing
assisted
matters.
suicide thing. I was like, assisted suicide. Gabby's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's gonna be like that.
No,
huh?
but okay, so that's a funny thing about like how much money do we bring in every year? It's what, like we have like a $4 to $5 trillion budget, and we rank like close to 30th in education in the world, and like no one feels the need to be like, hey, maybe we should try something different.
Well, I don't think
With all this money?
Standardized-
I don't think people
standardized
aren't
testing.
happy because their education's not the greatest.
But just little things like about like America. It's like little things like that about like America, where it's just like we don't even rank well in the world in any of
Yeah.
these categories, and we spend more money than everyone to be mediocre. Like it's just like if we were a business,
think-
we'd be the worst business ever.
what's tough is the strive to succeed, to be successful, to be profitable, to be rich. All that stuff has just given us this like unrealistic goal that we're probably most people aren't going to hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then they realize their life sucks. They sit at a desk all day, they don't have any fun, which is, we try to have fun here, but not everyone gets that. So they literally just sit at a desk all day. They get yelled at by
So trapped.
they have horrible bosses. Great movie.
I love Charlie Day.
And
Jason
then
Sudeikis in that one?
It's just yeah, he is. But like it's just it doesn't really like you could look at that from an outside perspective and say, common sense would tell me this is not how we were designed to live.
For sure.
And so but it's just like all the stuff with personal responsibility, and they talk about everyone uses like the parable of the talents to like really like say like, okay, we're supposed to invest. We're supposed to like get all this, like we're supposed to basically make fruits on our investments and, work hard and do all this stuff. And I think that's true. We should work hard, but it's like we should work hard for other people. We shouldn't be working hard for ourselves in a way. Like it's okay to work hard for ourselves, but that's like we get caught up and that's all we want to do because it's like,
Yeah.
because
There needs to be an element of
you think
service.
about if you're not happy, if you're not content, if you're not satisfied with what you're doing, what capacity do you have then to like help anyone else?
Right.
You don't. You
Right.
don't have no desire to either because
it's
you
the
want to help
classic-
yourself first until you get out of this shithole that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we have a country full of, for the most part, not non-grateful, non-generous people who are like unhappy with their lives.
Yeah.
And it's just like all we're doing is going deeper into that pit.
Well, and if we're not careful, especially in a religious like frame, like you can easily back to that kind of fear concept. It's like you can easily use fear to basically get people to like basically approach God like a slot machine.
Oh, that's what a lot of people do.
You'll get them. It's like they'll keep coming back, hoping that this next time they pull the lever, it's like, oh, that dream job's coming. The dream job's coming. Like that provision's coming. Da da da. It's like I don't think it's about that, man. I think it's about like going inside and like being okay with you. Like you got to like look in the mirror and really figure out like, do you like you? And kind of start to do that work. Like we just think that like, I mean, it's again the culture we created, but it's like we think that external realities or circumstances are somehow going to fix internal problems,
Yeah.
which they can mask them.
And it doesn't help that like a lot of the Christian, I don't know what to call it, but there's a lot of people who have about the people always brag all the time about childlike faith, right? How they always talk about you need to have a childlike faith.
Right.
A lot of people say that.
Yeah.
My issue with that is people take that and then basically extrapolate that into having a childlike understanding.
Yeah.
I don't think they're the same thing. And I think like a lot of people just walk around with their head in the clouds like, oh yeah, just, praise him and all this like, and they just like literally are nothing but positive. Like, and it's just, that's fine. If you're looking for a pep talk all the time, you just go to that person and they're all uplifting and stuff like that. But part of the issue is those people aren't very realistic about life. I mean, it's like they read a picture book about the Bible stories when they were a kid, and that's the understanding they have of everything. And you have all the other people who would like to like get into the Bible like they get into like The Hobbit, which is a very complicated story.
Mm-hmm.
And those type of people tend to be more realistic about their faith, like how it fits into their life and like how it fits into the world around them.
Yeah.
Instead of being siloed into your own, like, no, Jesus has got me, and no matter what the world throws at me, and that's it. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
Not that you should necessarily stray too far from that if you're a Christian, but at the same time, you got to be realistic about life, because I mean,
You gotta.
God's going to keep disappointing you.
Well,
If not, like, and at
Exactly.
some point, that's gonna like rub you raw. Like, you're gonna be like, "What the hell?" Like,
well, I think it's very bad for any individual to approach a supernatural being or any God and hope that that God will help them with things that they could help themselves with.
that's
right, like, it's like-
that's true.
Like, there's an element of like personal responsibility where it's just like, yeah, like, get a job, pay for your things, like, don't like screw people over. It's like there's this like supernatural contract, in my opinion, anytime you're approaching a God, and it's like, okay, you operate outside of my realm of understanding, but like what I do know, like, I am responsible to be a steward with what's in or to manage well what I have.
Well,
And it's like, if I want more, I got first start with managing well what I have.
Right.
But then even on another level, like maybe this is back to the other conversation about miracles. Like, it's like if God is supposed to handle the supernatural and we're supposed to handle the natural, I think it's like too easy for people to just want God to also handle like our natural desires or our natural things. Like, that's why I think there's things that we were meant to wrestle with and through. And it's like, it goes back to, I can only talk about my own life, but it's like so much of my time throughout my childhood that I spent with God was like, I wouldn't want someone like that, like, hanging out with me, because it's just like a lot of it was just asking for things. I mean, you say thank you for certain things, but it's like going through the prayer list, or you're just like constantly like, I'm sorry, I suck and I can't get this right, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but like nobody wants, like, I wouldn't want to have a friendship with someone who's constantly stuck in this, like, woe is me, I can't figure this out, I keep messing this thing up, da 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 da. It's like, I mean, that's why I think what you said about the childlikeness is such a big point of it, because I think it's like when I think about the context of what it mean to be childlike, I think it's like there's still this big aspect of like awe and wonder, where it's like,
Right.
you take a kid to Disney and they meet the princess, and it's just life changing.
Yeah.
And as the adult, you're looking at it and you're like, well, that's not the princess. That's just some chick that's making, $15 an hour to wear the dress.
Yeah,
But for that child,
Right.
it's like there's an element of like awe and wonder because I agree with you. Like, where is that balance?
you can't lose that. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
it just changes. It may not be the princess. It may be like standing on top of this mountain, looking out onto like, this river or valley, like some gorgeous sight, and you're just like in awe.
Which we also
Or looking
don't do.
into space.
It's so
and, like,
rare. Like, we just
this
build
is
our little
insane.
houses and stay inside our houses. Like, we
Yeah.
just stopped.
Well,
Like,
yeah, so,
even once we started going disking more often, like just being out in nature, like, it was hilarious how the first few times, like, going again for the first time in a long time, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going into those woods. Like, if I lose a disc, like, it's fine. Like, I'm not going in there like that. Like, God knows what's in there. But like, you just spend a little more time out there, and then within a few weeks, you're just like blitzkrieging like through like the wilderness, and you're just like, I'm a man. I will find that thing. But it's like, there's
did you
even
lose anything the other day?
I did.
Oh, yesterday you did.
I hucked one straight
What hole?
into the abyss.
Oh, that one.
That
The
hole.
one. Stupid one. Is it 8? Hole 8?
Hell, yeah.
We've all lost one on that one.
It's that hole just.
Sucks.
It's you can't go too far to the left. You can't go too far to the right, or it's gone forever.
Yep.
See, my issue is that
Long and straight.
one of my issues, because I have a lot, I guess.
Your main issue. I'm gonna go ahead and say it now. You rush every time you go to throw it. You just like walk up and you're just like.
You'll be like holding your bag in one hand and just like,
Yeah.
you're just like,
You gotta take
I
your
do,
time. You gotta
and then
get
I'm already
that
walking
mental-
up there like you guys are still going. Just like
Because you're trying to run through the course as fast as possible. You gotta.
I know. I keep thinking there's
Woosah.
I keep thinking there's like a time goal that we're trying to hit.
Yeah. And then
I
you
need
get
to start
so
the
mad
Evernote Fest.
when the throw isn't good. I was just like, take your time.
I should probably take more time on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because how long does it take you guys to get through it?
Hour and a half.
Okay. For two of you. I mean, that's pretty.
Probably it'd probably still be about an hour and a half for three of us. Yeah. Well, because we went through the DeBerry course on Saturday, an hour and a half with three of us.
And that's a longer course, seems like.
A little more walking, yeah, a little bigger.
Yeah. Where's the next course? Like, I mean, so DeBerry, UCF, like,
They have Barnett Park,
where's
which
that?
is like same distance from here that DeBerry is. Really, it's like over kind of like in the Pine Hills area, but it like Pine Hills isn't the greatest area, but Barnett Park is a really nice park.
Nice.
And it's a cool course because they have two different courses, like with difficulty levels.
Okay.
And then there's one that's called, he knows what the name of it is, but it's like in the Lake Nona area, like over by the airport. He said that one's really nice, but we haven't gone to that one yet.
Yeah, that would be good. I'd go to that one for
Yeah.
sure.
I went to one in Lakeland recently. It was really cool. It had to have been pretty new.
I did look over there when I was over there. We just didn't have time.
Yeah, it was
to do
over
it.
like on the Mulberry
If we had
side.
stayed for more than a couple days, we would have.
Did your buddy disc, or was he open to it, or?
No, he doesn't do that. But yeah, he would do it. I think he's kind of, they're kind of open for whatever.
Right.
But Christina's never done it either.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, you can't downplay it at all. You basically have to be like, yeah, you're going to just be walking through the heat for an hour and a half.
Uh-huh.
If you try and downplay it at all, they're just going to be mad when they get there and quit.
I see that. Yeah, Lincoln hasn't asked to go back out. Yeah,
He also wasn't feeling that well during it. And
because I forgot the
didn't
water.
have water. Yeah.
That was my fault. Totally my fault. Oh, welcome back.
Hello.
Welcome,
Hello.
welcome back. So what I was gonna say, so one of my beefs with the whole personal responsibility thing is that not personal responsibility. I would say more so like personal success and self ambition, all these things. It's completely opposite of really how we're called to live. It's demotivating when you have so many separations between the government and like your taxes or these programs that you're voting on or whatever, right? That you're like giving your money to, and then they go to like, and then it goes through its leaky bucket to wherever it
Right.
gets to, and then it finally helps people.
Yeah.
It's hard to make that connection, and because it's set up that way, we don't personally see like what good is happening with what we're able to do. So it creates this false generosity where like we pay taxes thinking that it's going to do the right thing. And so like because it's forced of us to pay this, like
Right.
we're forcing everyone to be generous with it, right? And that's an argument against like the socialist aspect of like charity. It's like, should we just personally take on that responsibility and not have the government do it? But the fact is, a lot of people wouldn't.
Right.
So it's kind of like that mechanism kind of has to be there. But it's like the people that complain the most about like having that, right? Like would be the ones that would just like hoard their money if they didn't have to pay it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, but one of those things is you really, in a lot of other countries, it's tangible. And I think we're losing it just in the whole world because like we have all these things where we can like work like in another country and do this thing and be totally detached from our current life and our work life. But I feel like the way things used to be, you had like your work life and your personal life kind of blended. I mean, you were whatever this trade was, and like you helped the people in your small community,
Right.
and that was your job. That's what you did, so that then the guy who grows the food is going to give you food and resources and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like it was very socialist.
Well, there was like
kinda
a
way of thinking about it, right? So there's a lot of people that don't have that small community,
Right.
don't have those people that are close to them they do anything for, and they don't understand that because they're so isolated. And that's the way most of America is, I feel like. because they're so isolated, they don't understand the benefit of helping others and having them help you, and the rewarding, the rewarding aspect of that kind of relationship. So it's like, I don't know. That's so tough. And I don't know how we walk that back here. I mean, this is probably the closest thing we have to that in this office, right? Like, I feel like a lot of us would just do anything for anyone, if they needed it or whatever. And I'm glad that we have that, but I wish that existed everywhere, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think you nailed it. It's just it was very common for everyone to have like an element of corporate responsibility in their life as well as individual responsibility. And it's like you said, when it's like our corporate responsibility is just paying our taxes and we don't get to choose it, it's like forced. I'm not saying like don't pay your taxes. It's just the way it is. But it's like, yeah, I mean, you don't really have, most people probably just don't have a good tribe or a team of people that they like enjoy kind of the good times and the bad times with.
Yeah.
Or just completely trust.
Right.
It's not easy to just completely trust people.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I feel like we talk a lot on this podcast. It always comes up, capitalism, socialism, but it's just like I basically made an argument for and against. So I always try to be balanced in my perspective.
Yeah. Because I think most of these things just require like wisdom, which, I mean, it's just my personal belief, kind of where I'm at right now. It's just like a lot of like the ego wants the self-preservation and the ego wants to make selfish decisions. And then there's a spiritual part of us that understands that like how can being selfless make me healthier? Doesn't make sense. But it's like it's pretty much accepted. Like a life, like we talked about, even with like life expectancies, like the cultures and the lives there's a big element of like serving and just like being a part of the community, not just self-preservation. I would put money on the fact that the more you go to a selfless sort of society, the healthier you're going to be, not just emotionally, but physically.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to be missed if you're not a part of something like that. Yeah, no, that's interesting. So back to assisted suicide. So would you pull the plug if you were in that situation and say a loved one was just saying like, "Hey, I can't live like this. Like it's just not worth it."
Well, because I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know enough, but I kind of see it as like if someone's like on life support and then you decide to pull the plug, like to me, I don't even know that I would consider that assisted suicide. Like if you can't survive without that machine, I don't think you or anyone has the obligation.
That's different. They can't, in that point, like, because they're basically not conscious. They can't. You have to make that decision. So that's not what we consider assisted suicide. This is probably someone
assisted suicide where people are just like, your body is not like, you're not dying, but you just want to be dead. Maybe that's the extreme of it.
That's an extreme. Like, so if someone like loses their legs in a car accident and they wake up in the hospital, I don't want to live anymore. I can't imagine life without my legs. Like, I just want you to.
Yeah. I mean, probably a lot of that too is it's like a fear thing. Because it's like, if you're not sure what happens next, you're just like, well, this sucks, but what if there's nothing after this?
I
mean, until you're in that situation.
I don't think you could do that. If it was just like I can't live without my legs thing, just like.
Well, I mean, you just have to kind of
do the full-on suicide then, my guy, because I can't help you with that.
You have to do the full-on special.
Well, that's okay. So that's even strange. Like, can you imagine like being a physician and like administering like a lethal dose of something?
Is that what they do? Is that how they do it?
I don't know.
I couldn't. You would have to have the most warped mindset to protect yourself from any kind of mental issues related to that.
Yeah, I don't know.
You would have to be numb. You'd have to be callous.
Oh, having to just put down animals all day?
Animals? Yeah, bro.
But I tell you what, like for some reason with animals, I have this
Fuck off, JJ.
You know what? No, dude. You didn't even hear what I was going to about to say.
I feel like I know it. I feel like I know it. Go ahead, continue.
Heartless.
She told me to fuck off right away.
Go ahead. Just continue. I want to hear it.
No.
So what I'm saying is that I feel like with animals, I have, gotta be careful what to say. I have an easier time imagining that I'm doing the right thing for that animal by putting them down than I do with a human. So like,
Sure.
and I think it's because a lot of times animals, because they can't talk, they can't express what they're feeling, what they're going through. It gets really bad before humans realize, like, oh shit, they can't use their legs.
Yeah.
Their
Yeah,
mouth.
usually by the
their
time
mouth
you find out,
their
it's
mouth
too
has
late.
all this stuff on it. Like,
Yeah.
there's a bacteria eating away their jaw, right? So it's like I feel like it's much easier for me to say, like, to make that balance, like I'm doing the right thing for this animal.
Because it's already suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With humans, it's like it's harder to tell. Like, are you in pain? Like, what? You know what I mean? What are you going through right now?
Dude, that was my grandpa.
You
He
know?
literally, like, he was the guy that, like, refused to go to the hospital, refused to go to the doctor.
So you never
I mean,
knew.
He would just
It's
deal
just
with
like,
pain.
is he okay? Is he not?
Right. By the time it was bad enough that he was literally like, maybe take me to the hospital, I think he had, cancer in his stomach that it gotten so bad that it was basically just like he only had a couple months because he just like, he was just stubborn. He just wasn't,
Yeah.
until it got literally too bad. And then by that point, but then, yeah, I don't know, man. Modern medicine just throws a whole kind of monkey wrench into the existence of life because it's like we're just prolonging life beyond what the universe intended. Or maybe we're making ourselves sick with the kind of food we're eating that we were never supposed to eat anyways.
Yeah, that's true. Did you understand what I was saying, Gabby?
Yeah, I take back the.
Is that fair? Fuck on.
It was, yeah.
No, I mean you could probably
It was a
still fuck
premature-
off, but
it was a
Okay.
premature-
What the hell is with you people? Yeah.
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 I'm sure you'll do something or say
okay,
something later that I'll
interesting-
stand by my comment for.
Because we
I'm
always
sure
say,
I will, but I never mean it to be like bad.
Yeah, I just heard you saying, well, when it came to the animals.
Well,
you know you and your opinion with dogs and stuff.
no, I don't prefer to have them around, but I'm not like heartless. Like I don't like seeing an animal suffer. I mean,
Yeah.
No, it's heartbreaking, dude.
no.
Yeah.
it's not.
Here's a random thought I had the other day about animals. It's like, okay, so we all would acknowledge that, like, most people, I shouldn't say all.
You said most.
I would say
You
probably.
said most people. I shouldn't say all. So you didn't though.
Okay, fair. You're right. I would say majority of people would probably say that, like, animals don't have, like, souls. Or that's, like, because, like, we want to have something different about us. You know? We're, like, we're special. We go to the afterlife.
All dogs go to heaven.
Kind of,
Haven't you
right. Like,
heard?
some people are, like, who knows? Everyone probably hopes there's animals in heaven.
There better be.
Right? Yeah. But I also was thinking about it. It's like, what is my soul? Like, my soul is just like my thoughts, my emotions, my desires.
Dogs have.
That's what I'm saying. It's like dogs have emotions.
I mean, a lot of
dogs
animals
think
do.
things. They
Yeah.
can't communicate to the level that we communicate. But it's like, what if everything has
You
a
ever
soul?
seen Bunny with the buttons? Bro, she's got like 50 buttons
She can
on
communicate?
the floor, and she just goes and presses them, and she talks to her mom. She'll literally say,
not-
"Bunny outside."
See, that's where I'm like,
Wouldn't it be
maybe
crazy?
they're not as evolved, but like, I
was
think
it?
they all
You
have
can
this
train 'em,
element
yeah,
of
you
like,
can
Was it octopus that people say that is like the smartest like
Or
animal in
dolphins.
the world or something
Dolphins
like
are
that?
supposed to be really smart.
Because
Yeah.
they have like I mean,
elephants have good memories.
yeah.
Elephants have good memories.
Wouldn't
yeah.
be crazy though, and there has to be some like whether it's like plants or whatever, right? That have these massive root systems.
Oh.
That basically like they're all communicating with each
fungi.
other.
Yeah.
Like and so like we think that we're the top of the we are the top of the food chain, but it's like we think we're just the top of the top because we can have conversations about reflecting on what do we believe the afterlife is.
Right.
Yeah.
We have this introspection where we look at ourselves like as a being, right? You wonder
It's a higher level of awareness.
would be crazy is if like other species, animals, living things had that capability and we're talking about it and we just had no clue. And they're just like, look at these
Communicating, yeah.
dumbass humans.
Dude, there was a fascinating movie on Netflix that was about mushrooms, and
Oh, that's like because it's the largest organism on Earth,
they
right?
create like this almost like a neural network, like a brain,
Yeah.
all throughout like the world that just connects like underground, like trillions of connections.
Yeah, people think mushrooms came from like an alien planet or something. Yeah,
Yeah, because even like I remember one of the most fascinating.
they're
things-
delicious.
I do love mushrooms.
I gotta say, Aldi, they have these stuffed mushrooms,
Yes.
dude. Oh my gosh, Christina's been buying them for me, so I'm on keto, because it's basically just a mushroom and cheese and stuff, and it's just so good.
I like that.
Oh my gosh,
Man,
dude.
I could do mushrooms about every day.
Sorry,
But no,
Go
it's-
ahead.
one thing that was fascinating was like in a forest, if like there's a tree that's sick, like the other trees know, and they will like send nutrients. Like there's this network where there's this like this like innate knowledge of like, okay, send extra nutrients to the sick trees. Where most humans, it's like once we acknowledge someone that's like sick, we're just like, I hope you get better. And we're just like, peace.
So
The trees
so
are
you
literally like connected, and they're just like, oh, it makes
So
me think of
are
like
we- are
Avatar
we
and
at-
like Awa, and they all like plug into the thing. Take my life force.
Justin's
Sweet
like
little tree.
watching Avatar, like I wish that was me.
we
Dude,
should
I
watch
know.
Avatar soon.
The
second one.
No, it's so I just heard out
When's that
from
coming
our
out?
theater guy.
I think December.
We need to go. I will go to a midnight
We need
showing
to
with
watch
you
the
guys
first
if you
one again
want.
before we go see
No,
that.
Exactly
they're
what I was gonna say.
re-releasing the
need to
first
go.
one in theater. They're bringing. What was this?
I think
You're gonna like it.
you're gonna like it.
So I wonder if it's a higher level of evolution to be connected like that, or it's a higher level to separate yourself
Dude, have you ever heard of the
from
stone,
that.
The
So I
stoned
wonder
ape
if
theory?
we,
The what?
yeah,
The stoned ape theory.
yeah, like the
Rogan will talk about a lot on
a
his podcast.
catalyst to our evolution was as a result of
But
drugs.
they think like basically, it's, and I don't necessarily subscribe to this, but
psilocybin,
certain
right?
people think, yeah, that primates started eating mushrooms that were like magic mushrooms, psilocybin, and it like led to just more of these like kind of thoughts.
increased rate of evolution.
of awareness and
Yeah.
just really thinking about what you think about more
That'd be
more or
sick
less.
if it was true.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
Well, I've seen people do mushrooms, and I don't think that like
Christians wouldn't like that one.
necessarily applies that they're. some
Tell you
people
what,
are.
you definitely think more.
You think more, but it just like
Mm-hmm.
it visually doesn't look like those people have evolved anymore. So you.
That's true. Well, no, what's really interesting though is like when people do it like assisted, like as an actual medical treatment, like with it's not like you don't do it with like a shaman. I think it's just there's certain physicians in certain places.
I'd
that
rather do
allow
it with the shaman.
probably.
That's the legit experience right
Yeah,
there.
no, that'd be dope. But most places, like if you do a psilocybin,
I want to
type
pass
of
the
treatment
stick. Whatever they smoke out of that, like peyote or whatever it is, the Indian smoke. I just want to like
in the hut,
Native Americans. I'm sorry.
in the
I
hut,
shouldn't
just
say that.
sweating balls.
Oh, dude, you
Just
have to
in the
have
hut
the
with a
full
little fire.
experience. You gotta have the full experience.
I would be so down.
Oh my gosh.
But
Anyway,
I am.
they're
Totally
so they're bringing
derailed.
Avatar back to the theaters like a few months before the release,
Oh, sick.
Oh,
so
they
we can
are.
go see it at the theater.
I like
The
that.
theater.
So awesome.
The theater.
Theater. And then we can go see it midnight. I'm gonna see it the night it comes out. Like
Yeah.
I'm pre-buying tickets. Like no joke.
Yeah, dude,
For
I was
sure.
obsessed.
Probably be at the Epic over on Lee Vista if you guys are down.
I like that place. Yeah,
They got the good seats, yeah.
They got the good seats, the good drinks.
expensive drinks, but yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good. So anyway, we're at an hour and this is actually a good conversation, I thought.
Solid.
It's good. All three of us. We don't have Luke,
Swing, swing.
but it's his loss.
Dole.
He's in Montana, who is
Oh,
currently
Dole.
contemplating legalizing assisted suicide, weirdly enough. So
yeah, that one
we all learned something new today.
that one threw me off.
I mean,
Montana
I don't
did?
Maine and
Yeah.
Vermont. I don't like. I guess Vermont maybe, but Maine. Like I don't get it. It surprises me that New York's not on that list.
That's true.
Because I guess, okay, so is assisted suicide I know we really don't need to dive back
I
into
wonder
it,
though.
but is it really like I don't like being alive and I can go to Maine and someone will just like feed me a pill
it's
and
like
then I
that.
never
I don't
wake
think
up.
it's like that. I think it's no
It's
because
only
you could,
for, like,
you could
people that
suicide
are, like-
yourself that way. The thing is, I
But I think they like
I think
that.
it's people who can't, people who don't have the ability to do it on their own. You're in a bed, you're paralyzed. You know what I mean? Like you can't physically do it.
Yeah.
You need help to do it. I think so. In any situation where that's the case, you could ask for help and someone will just do it for you.
Because I could see it Well, I guess I could see both of the extremes of either side kind of taking it in the same direction as like even like the whole abortion debate. Like a lot of people on the right will just look at it and just be like, they want to do abortion all up until the day of birth, like up until 9 months. Like that's just kind of, it's like, well, I don't think
It's almost never going to happen.
many people would advocate
Yeah,
for
that's
that.
not-
I think there's a very small percent of people who think that's okay. But it's like there is somewhere where it's like, obviously, then you have the other side that says it's never okay. But even in some, I'm guessing the assisted suicide debate is more of a spectrum where it's like, could just anyone do it if they're an adult and it's legal, or do they have to be sick already? Or
Oh, you know what?
it's just it feels like a slippery slope.
I
to me.
believe. So I think. Let's see. I think with Montana, we're going back to this. I think with Montana, it basically through the Supreme Court decision, the law allows for terminally ill. So
So it's a very
there,
small
yeah. So you can do it,
subset.
but I think it has to. I mean, if I'm the lower court's ruling on the state law. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Anyway, it doesn't matter, I guess. But it's a very like weird subject to bring up to people because it's like, how would you talk about that in the church? It'd be like you wouldn't really.
Well, I think
There would be one side, one answer to that, and it'd be like, it's wrong. Don't do it.
Well,
You can't do it.
I have the same views when it comes to abortion with the church, because it's just like when you just have people that look at it and say no, never okay, wrong. It's like you no longer can actually have a. I don't want to project this on people, but it's, to me, it would seem like you have much less of a capacity to empathize and really find compassion for like a young girl that's having to go through that and make an impossible decision.
Yeah.
Similarly with assisted suicide, it's like we just look at it and we're just like, no, wrong, not okay. You're gonna end up in hell. But it's like, well, let's just like, I'm not saying we endorse it or condone it, but it's like that dude's probably going through it. If this is where he's ready to be at.
Yeah, it's like if I was to be in that position, I knew there was no way I was recovering anything, like, and I just like, all right, each day I'm in here is costing you $15,000 or whatever for a hospital night. It's like, just end it now and take, and like donate that money to preserving
Sure.
life where it's going to count.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always a way, and it talks about like,
Because that's what happened with that actress. They basically kept her alive long enough
Her
at
organs,
Anne Hesh
yeah.
to find a match for the organs.
So that's one of the examples where it's like, I think sacrifices are biblical. People
sure.
sacrifice themselves for other people all the time. Like
No
if you were
greater
to-
love.
If you were to say, hey, stop wasting these resources, keeping me alive, how's that different than just going in front of the sword for someone else?
Right.
I think it's just a deeper conversation. And I think, like anything on this podcast, we want to encourage people to have these like conversations and not just stop at the surface, like
Right.
the what would seem like the common sense answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think it was good. It was good today.
Same.
So again, thanks everyone for watching. Like, subscribe, and tell everyone about this.
Run and tell that.
people. If we do, like I said, any support that we get, we'll send you some free merch. And well, I guess it's not free if you're paying for support, but we appreciate your support, and we'll send you some corresponding merch. We don't have a lot right now.
Some little Easter eggs in the mail.
We'll make something up. But anyway, all right, we will talk to you next time. See ya.